The story is set in the divided city of Sevril, a place where two powerful families, the Navaris and the Elarians, have been embroiled in a bitter feud for generations. The city, once united, is now split into two distinct regions, the opulent west, controlled by the Navaris, and the modest, struggling east, governed by the Elarians. The conflict between these families is so intense that crossing into the other's territory is seen as an act of betrayal, punishable by death. Elara Navari, a beautiful, intelligent young woman from the Navari family. She's compassionate but feels suffocated by her family's expectations and the rigid social structure of Sevril. Despite her privileged upbringing, she longs for a life free from the hatred and violence that define her family's existence. Darian Elorian, a courageous and noble-hearted young man from the Elorian family. He's skilled in combat but dreams of peace and unity. Darian is torn between his loyalty to his family and his desire to end the cycle of violence that has plagued Sevril for too long. Lord Castor Navari, Elara's father, the ruthless head of the Navari family. He's determined to destroy the Elarians at any cost and sees Elara as a pawn in his political games. Lady Lysandra Elarian, Darian's mother, a fierce leader who has kept the Elarian family strong despite the Navaris' attempts to crush them. She harbors a deep-seated hatred for the Navaris. Cora, Elara's childhood friend and confidant. She's a servant in the Navari household, but shares Elara's desire for peace. Luca, Darian's closest friend and ally, fiercely loyal to the Elarian cause, but increasingly disillusioned by the endless bloodshed. Elara, desperate to escape the suffocating life dictated by her family, sneaks out of the Navari mansion one evening, disguising herself in simple clothes. She ventures into the Elarian territory, yearning to see the other side of Sevril. Darian, on a similar quest for freedom, is exploring the outskirts of his family's domain when he encounters Elara. They meet by chance in an abandoned marketplace, both unaware of each other's true identities. They share a moment of connection, both drawn to the other's passion for peace and unity. For the first time, they feel a sense of hope, a belief that perhaps they aren't as alone in their desires as they thought. When they part, neither knows the other's name, but both feel a deep, inexplicable bond. Over the following weeks, Elara and Darian find ways to meet in secret under the cover of night. They confide in each other, sharing their dreams and fears. Slowly, their initial connection deepens into love, a love that feels both exhilarating and terrifying. They know the consequences if their families discover the truth, but they can't bring themselves to walk away. Their secret meetings become the only bright spots in their otherwise dark lives, and they begin to plan for a future together. They dream of leaving Sevril, escaping to a distant land where they can be free from the chains of their family's hatred. One night, during a clandestine meeting, they are discovered by Luca, who has followed Darian out of suspicion. Darian is forced to reveal Elara's identity, and Luca is horrified, accusing Darian of betraying their family. Torn between his love for Elara and his loyalty to Luca and his family, Darian begs Luca to keep their secret. Luca reluctantly agrees, but warns Darian that if anyone else finds out, it could mean their deaths. Elara, too, is filled with fear, knowing that her family would never forgive her if they learned of her love for an Elarian. Tensions between the Navaris and Elarians escalate when Lord Castor Navari decides to launch an all-out attack on the Elarian territory, seeking to finally destroy their rivals. Elara is horrified by her father's plans and begs him to reconsider, but he dismisses her pleas. Blinded by his thirst for power, Darian, too, is thrust into the conflict, forced to defend his family's land. Despite their love, Elara and Darian find themselves on opposite sides of the battlefield, each fighting to protect their people. As the violence escalates, Elara and Darian realize that they must act quickly if they are to have any chance of being together. They hatch a desperate plan to flee Sevril and start a new life far away. They arrange to meet at the abandoned marketplace where they first met, under the cover of darkness. However, their plans are foiled when Cora, Elara's loyal friend, overhears a conversation between Lord Castor and his men. She learns that Lord Castor has discovered Elara's secret and plans to have her arrested and brought back to the Navari mansion to be punished. Cora rushes to warn Elara, who, in a panic, sends a message to Darian, urging him to flee without her. Darian, upon receiving Elara's message, refuses to leave without her. He races to the marketplace, hoping to find her before it's too late. But when he arrives, he finds Elara already surrounded by Navari soldiers, led by Lord Castor himself. Darian fights desperately to reach her, but he is outnumbered and eventually captured. Lord Castor, enraged by what he sees as Elara's betrayal, orders Darian to be executed on the spot. Elara, heartbroken and desperate, throws herself between Darian and the soldiers, begging her father for mercy, but Lord Castor, blinded by hatred, strikes her down, believing that only in death can she be redeemed for her betrayal. As Elara lies dying in Darian's arms, she whispers to him that she has no regrets, that she would rather die with him than live without him. Darian, overcome with grief, manages to free himself from the soldier's grasp and takes his own life, unable to bear the thought of living in a world without her. The deaths of Elara and Darian send shockwaves through Sevril. Both families are devastated by the loss of their children, and for the first time in years they begin to question the endless cycle of violence that has torn their city apart. Lord Castor, broken by the death of his daughter, steps down as the head of the Navari family, leaving Sevril in a state of uncertainty. Lady Lysandra, too, is overcome with grief, realizing too late that her hatred has cost her everything. In the end, it is Luca and Cora who come together to honor the memories of their lost friends. They work tirelessly to bring peace to Sevril, striving to create the world that Elara and Darian dreamed of, a world where love can flourish without fear. But even as the city begins to heal, the tragic tale of Elara and Darian lives on, a reminder of the devastating cost of hatred and the enduring power of love.